Charlton Heston built a career on grandeur. He was the face of Hollywood epics, the commanding figure in films like Ben-Hur, The Ten Commandments, and El Cid. He portrayed leaders, prophets, and revolutionaries. Off-screen, he was a public intellectual, a civil rights marcher, and later, a political activist. But behind the image of strength and conviction, there was a hidden struggle. A personal truth that followed him for decades and remained largely unspoken in the public eye. Throughout his life, Heston kept a strict separation between his public and private identities. However, close associates, family members, and some biographers have pointed to one consistent thread that weighed on him: his complicated relationship with identity and purpose. Though not a scandal in the conventional sense, the secret that haunted Heston was his lifelong internal conflict over whether he had ever truly been himself, on screen, in activism, or even in his personal choices. Heston was born John Charles Carter in 1923. The transformation into Charlton Heston was not merely a stage name. It was a persona, a manufactured identity built to embody strength, resolve, and command. As his fame grew, so did the pressure to conform to that image. Over time, the boundaries between the roles he played and the man he actually was began to blur. Colleagues often noted that Heston was always on, rarely dropping the posture or tone expected from the larger-than-life figures he portrayed. In interviews, he remained guarded. Rarely did he speak about doubts, insecurities, or regrets. In private letters and memoir drafts never published, Heston reflected on his early commitment to political causes, his participation in the 1963 March on Washington, and his outspoken defense of the Second Amendment in later decades. He questioned whether he had always understood the full implications of the positions he took, or whether, at times, he had simply filled the role of advocate as he had filled the role of Moses. Convincingly, passionately, but from a script not entirely his own. Friends recalled late-night conversations in which Heston expressed concern that his political legacy might overshadow his artistic one, and that his image had become too tightly defined by absolutes. Perhaps the most telling evidence of this internal struggle came in the years after his Alzheimer's diagnosis. Though Heston made a public statement about stepping back from public life, those close to him noticed a shift even before that announcement. He had become more introspective, less driven by external validation, and more open about his discomfort with being seen only as a symbol. In these private moments, he reportedly admitted that there were times when he didn't recognize the man the world celebrated. Heston's secret, then, was not a single event or hidden scandal, but rather a long-held question of authenticity. Was he Charlton Heston, the man or the myth? And could he ever fully escape the expectations placed on him by decades of playing roles that defined masculinity, heroism, and unwavering belief? That quiet tension followed him through the heights of his career and lingered into his final years. Even in death, the narrative remains tightly controlled. Public retrospectives focus on the iconic roles, the political stances, the awards. What remains in the background is the unresolved question of whether the man behind it all ever felt free to simply be himself. It was a burden few saw and fewer understood. A private legacy buried beneath the image of a cinematic titan.